Hey guys, welcome to another taste test video. So in this video I'm going to be testing another one of my favorite foods, which is instant noodles. I lived on instant noodles for, like a lot of people, I lived on them in college, and when I was living in Korea, basically, I was working at night, there was really nothing much else to eat. So I lived on instant noodles for a very long time, so I'm quite familiar with a lot of instant noodles, especially the Korean kind, but today we're going to test out instant noodles from 4 different countries. So just going to go over them. And interestingly, I'm not going to choose the same flavor for these instant noodles because each country has their own flavor that they're good at. So I chose kind of the representative flavor of each country, just the flavor that people most associate with that country. So yeah, so let's go over the different instant noodles I have. I have 4 of them right here. So first I'm gonna talk about Mama. So Mama is an instant noodle brand from Thailand. Actually, the real company name is called Thai President Foods. And this is my representative noodle for actually most Southeast Asian noodles I find as well. So Indomie is another popular Southeast Asian noodle brand that's from Indonesia. But yeah, Mama, I chose this one. I think Indomie kind of has like a similar type of design too. It's usually these very small packets. And that's what I find interesting about these Southeast Asian noodles, like from Vietnam or Thailand or Indonesia. They usually come in these much smaller packets. So this is only a 60-gram packet, much smaller than these other instant noodles. Yeah, that's going to be one of the choices I have here in this taste test, and this is the shrimp flavor. And the reason I got shrimp flavor for Mama is because Thailand is well known for tom yum. Tom yum soup is kind of one of their signature foods, or one of their signature dishes. So I thought it makes sense. Most Thai instant noodles would have tom yum as one of their signature flavors. So I just got the shrimp flavor because this is kind of representative of that tom yum flavor, right? Which is kind of like a shrimp-based soup. So yeah, it should be interesting. I'm gonna check this one out. Then next up, oh yeah, I'll talk about the prices too. So this is about 75 cents in US. A little bit more like expensive depending on where you go to, but this one is 75 cents US. You can get them cheaper if you buy them, more in bulk. But I got this just separately. So it's fairly expensive, I guess, for this size. Okay. Next up I have Sapporo Ichiban, which is probably the most well-known out of all these in the US because they've been selling in the US for the longest. So Sapporo Ichiban is a brand of Sanyo foods. They're Japanese, of course. So Japan invented instant noodles. Nissin invented instant noodles. The reason I didn't choose Nissin, by the way, is because personally, I find the Sapporo Ichiban is like a little bit more premium than Nissin. Still Japanese, so I still want to use it in this comparison. So yeah, Sapporo Ichiban, I think most people in US and Canada would know this brand. They're sold in pretty much most supermarkets. And yeah, this is the miso flavor because I want to choose a flavor very representative of Japanese ramen, and of course, miso, right? That's a typical Japanese flavor for their ramen, so I decided to go with that. So yeah, very traditional Japanese flavor for this. This is actually the most expensive out of all these standalone. I got this for $1.20 a packet US, so it's actually the most expensive out of all these. So anyways, Sapporo Ichiban is going to be my next pick. And oh yeah, and of course this one is bigger than the Mama packet. It's 101 grams, so approximately like almost double that of the Mama packet. And then next up I have Chinese brand. So there's many Chinese brands of instant noodles. I think Baija is probably one of my favorites, but for this one I'm going to go with Wugudaochang. So this is a Chinese brand, and these sell for about a dollar US, I would say. And yeah, they're let's see, this flavor here is called artificial hot and sour beef flavor. The reason I chose this flavor is because for me, the representative Chinese noodles has this mala flavor. And they also have a lot of flavors that's related to like this artificial, they call it artificial beef or artificial chicken, whatever. It's basically the same as the beef and chicken flavor, but they also have some, I guess more like unique to China flavors, like the stewed beef type of flavor. So whenever they say artificial beef or artificial chicken, it probably means like this stewed beef or chicken type of flavor. So that's kind of more Chinese style. Chinese love to like braise or boil their food. Rather than like, you know, grill them or fry them. So Chinese food, I think I find like they more like braise or boil them. So yeah, this artificial hot and sour beef flavor is very Chinese flavor, right? I'm guessing there's going to be a little bit of mala flavor in this, and that's very representative of what you would find in Chinese noodles, because there's a lot of Chinese noodles with the mala flavor in it, which is what's mala flavor? It's kind of this spicy flavor that gives you like a numbing sensation. It's different than what you would typically associate with spicy, but yeah, I think that's what mala flavor is. But anyways, Wugudaochang, and this was non-fried too, interestingly, and also 107 grams, so a little bit more than the Sapporo Ichiban. Okay, and last but not least, we have the representative Korean brand Nong Shim, which is probably the most famous Korean instant noodle brand. There's a lot of other Korean instant noodle brands, but I think Nong Shim internationally especially is probably the most famous, and especially for Shin Ramen. But this time I went with kimchi, because kimchi is a representative flavor of Korea, right? A lot of their dishes have kimchi in it, and they have a lot of kimchi noodles, something which is specific to Korea. Like, you don't really find other brands with kimchi noodles, right? It's really only Korean brands that have it, which makes sense. So yeah, I went with the kimchi flavor for Nong Shim. Yeah, Nong Shim kimchi ramen, basically. And it says seasoned with real kimchi. 120 grams. I think this is actually more than the rest. And that's actually maybe due to the fact that Korean noodles in general tend to be a little bit thicker compared to other noodles. That's probably why it weighs a little bit more. But yeah, Nong Shim, can't go wrong with Nong Shim. They're probably my favorite Korean brand of noodles. They make a ton of different instant noodles. Like I said, Shin Ramyeon is the most popular, but they have a whole bunch of other flavors as well. And this costs $1.10 a packet, I would say. So not as expensive as Sapporo Ichiban, but more expensive than the Chinese one. So yeah, we can go over these four representative instant noodles, I would say, of their countries. Nong Shim kimchi, Wugudaochang, hot and spicy beef flavor, Sapporo Ichiban miso, and Mama shrimp flavor or tom yum flavor. So these are all representative of their countries, and I'm just going to be eating a little bit of each one, because, you know, I can't eat all these at once. So I'm just going to be taste testing a little bit of each one and telling you guys what I think of them. So yeah, stay tuned, guys. Alright, so the first noodle I'm going to try out is going to be Mama. And again, I could have chose Indomie as well with mee goreng, but you know, I just happened to find Mama in the supermarket. And I mean, you guys can see the ingredients list right here. Obviously with instant noodles, there's quite a bit of ingredients in all of them. Let's see. This one, I would just tell you guys what I find interesting. There's chili powder in it, obviously MSG. I don't know what spices is, but they always put spices in it. Fish sauce in this one as well. So I'm wondering what the seasoning packet has. Fish sauce, which is anchovy, salt and sugar. It has shrimp powder, which is shrimp and salt. So they actually do have shrimp powder in here. Dried spring onion. They have baking soda, interestingly. Soy sauce. Yeah, and it contains may contain egg, milk, sesame, and oyster. Interesting. 280 calories, because this is going to be less than the other ones because it's a smaller packet. But still contains 71% of your daily value of sodium. 1,630 milligrams of sodium. Alright, another good reason for me not to eat all of this. I'm just going to eat like a small chunk just for taste testing. I'm going to tell you guys what's in the packet, what the noodles look like. Okay, so it comes with 2 packets, actually 3 packets. It comes with 3 packets here. Packet of chili powder, then a packet of Mama sauce. I mean, this is just a soup packet. So it comes with a soup packet and a chili powder packet, and then it comes with more of a soup-based thing. So I'm guessing, yeah, one of these is going to be chili powder, and then one of them is going to be shrimp powder, and then one of them is going to be some sort of sauce base. So it comes with three packets in total. Pretty good, actually, for a noodle this size. And then if you guys want to see what just going to pick off a piece, what the noodle looks like. Yeah, it's pretty good. It just looks like this. I think it's actually a little bit more, got a little bit more of a a brown, I guess, kind of tint to it. Maybe it's been like, looks like it's been roasted or something like that. I mean, it's just interesting. Maybe I just, some noodles are just like totally white, so it's cool. This one has a little bit of brown in it. Okay, so I'm just test out this one and just put a little bit of seasoning, of course. Not much. And I'm not going to put any other ingredients in, by the way, right? You obviously could put vegetables and eggs and meat or whatever you want in instant noodles, but I just want to test out what the what you get in the what they give you. Okay, it's chili powder. Put a little bit of chili powder in here. Actually, they don't give you much chili powder to begin with. It's like this small bit of chili powder seasoning, not that much. And then this is the shrimp powder, I'm guessing. Let's put a little bit of that in here. Okay. And then I'm gonna put a little bit of the soup base packet here. Okay. Yeah, so then I'm going to put some boiling water and then I'll tell you guys what I think of it. Alright, so right now I'm taste testing the Mama instant noodles shrimp flavor. So I can already tell from the smell that this is a tom yum flavor. So tom yum soup is very interesting. It's like, it's got a lot of different flavors in it, honestly. It's got a little bit of salty, sour, spicy. It's got a whole bunch of different flavors in it. That's actually why I really like tom yum. That's a really interesting flavor, and it's obviously very popular in Thailand. So yeah, it already smells kind of like that. So yeah, if you guys have ever had tom yum soup, you know that there's a very specific flavor to it, right? It's very unique. So yeah, that's what the try to get you guys to see without spilling. Okay, kind of what it looks like is this. The noodles look like this. It's looks pretty good, right? Broth looks very complex, actually. Very complex looking broth. So I can tell there's definitely a lot of ingredients inside of here. I mean, they put like shrimp powder and soy sauce, right, and chili powder. So anyways, let's see how it goes. Okay. So the noodles are very thin. These are like your typical like Japanese style noodles. So these are kind of thin noodles. They got a slightly chewy texture to them, which is good. Okay. Yeah, it's got a slightly chewy texture. It's thin, so it's easy to eat. I would say that most of the yeah, most of the flavor from this obviously comes from the broth itself, because it's the tom yum flavor, right? So if the noodles don't absorb the broth, there actually isn't too much flavor in it, but the broth itself is what makes this, right? Yeah. It definitely tries to approximate the tom yum flavor. So you have the shrimp flavor, but also you have a little bit of sourness and spiciness and saltiness and everything kind of combined. I think those of you guys who are interested in tom yum soup and this kind of Thai soups won't be disappointed by this. This is really trying to approximate that, and honestly, it's okay. It's a decent job. It's not, obviously not exactly the same thing, but I think it definitely gets that that profile down, right? That flavor profile of tom yum. Okay, pretty much almost done, but what I like about this one is the flavor is very complex, because that's basically what tom yum is. So this shrimp flavor is not like other shrimp flavors like from other companies, because this is a Thai brand, so it's actually a tom yum flavor, and that's actually very complex compared to a typical shrimp flavor. So that's what I like about it. Also, the noodles are decently chewy, so that's good. What I don't like about it, the noodles are not substantial. They're like yeah, thin noodles and stuff. I mean, there's people who really like very thin noodles. I don't really like very thin noodles. But these noodles are not substantial, and honestly, I don't know why Southeast Asian noodle brands always sell in these small packets, because this is not enough for one person. Like, yeah, I already took like maybe 40% of the, yeah, the small chunk is already 40% of this entire packet. So you buy one packet, you're definitely not going to be full, especially not with these really thin noodles. So I just wish the noodles were a little bit more substantial. Also, I don't understand why Southeast Asian noodle companies like Vietnam, Thailand, you know, Indonesia with Indomie, why do they have these really small packets? Maybe someone from, maybe a Thai person or, you know, Indonesian person can explain to me, right? Why are the noodle packets so small for Southeast Asian noodles? I don't understand. It's definitely not enough for one person. You definitely need at least like 2 of these, right? So this is like a half serving. The noodles are just way too small and thin to be substantial, so you're definitely going to need to eat at least 2 of these. Yeah, because yeah, the noodles are just they're like nothing. They're like, they're nice and they got a decent amount of texture, but they're not filling at all. So you're definitely gonna need more of these packets. I think. So anyways, I do like the flavor though. Very unique flavor. That's yeah, tom yum. So if you guys like Thai, traditional Thai flavor, then this is a decent job approximating that flavor. All right, next up is Sapporo Ichiban, and I think when I looked online, just generally speaking, look at the reviews of instant noodles and everything, the 3 main brands available in America from Japan are Maruchan, Sapporo Ichiban, and Nissin. And I've seen consistently Sapporo Ichiban ranked higher than the other 2. So that's part of the reason why I chose this one. Yeah. I mean, Nissin Top Ramen is obviously iconic, right? They're the original inventors of instant ramen, but I think Sapporo Ichiban has a little bit, you know, better quality reputation by a little bit, I think. They consistently rank pretty high. So Japanese noodles, first thing you have, I think at least from what I've seen in America, typically they only include 1 sauce packet. So compared to, yeah, compared to the Thai one or the Chinese one, I think, yeah, there's only going to be 1 sauce packet for these Japanese brands. They really try to keep it simple, so you just get 1 soup-based packet. And then, let's look at the back here. This is what it looks like on the back. So, instructions, and then it says Oriental noodles. Oriental is a very old term for Asia. Let's see, what's anything interesting here? Obviously, I'm not going to list every ingredient here, but let's see, tapioca starch. They use that here. Palm oil, soy sauce. So they have actual soybeans in here. This is the miso flavor, right? How come I don't see anything related to miso? I don't know. Yeah, I guess. Maybe I don't know exactly. Oh, okay, never mind. I was looking at the wrong section. Okay, yeah. So they do have the miso powder here. Well, they actually tell you what spices are in here. So chili pepper, orange peel, interestingly, sesame seed, poppy seed, sea lettuce, yuzu, and Chinese pepper. That's very interesting. And the miso powder has miso, which is soybeans, salt, rice, and barley, tapioca starch, MSG, of course, caramel color, dried leek. No, it's got a little bit of ginger flavor too. Paprika is in here. Interesting. Okay, a lot of complicated ingredients. Obviously, this list is very long, but I found a lot of like very surprising ingredients in here. Actually, I never expected orange peel or like yuzu to be in here. Wow, in this one. Okay, interesting. 470 calories, obviously more than the Mama packet because this is a bigger packet. 440 milligrams of sodium, 19%. I wonder That's actually not too bad compared to... Interesting. So this one small mama packet is like 1,600 milligrams of sodium. So the small mama packet of 60 grams is 1,700 grams of sodium. But this entire bigger bag of 100 grams, this one is a bigger packet, of course, than the mama one, but 440 milligrams of sodium. It contains much less than the mama packet, despite being much bigger. Yeah, that's actually very surprising to me. Huh. It's basically 1/4. This is like 1/4 of the sodium content of the mama packet, despite being bigger. That's actually very surprising. Okay. I wonder, like, it is the entire serving size one package. I was wondering, did I mess up the serving size? No, it is the entire serving size. Huh, interesting. So this one is actually relatively much healthier for you than mama. It doesn't contain that much sodium. Okay, so actually, yeah, this is what I'm talking about. So this is a typical Japanese instant noodle, right? It's basically all white looking. So that's why I was talking about with the mama noodles. It's like it's got a little bit of brown color. It's almost like it's a little bit of roasted or fried or whatever. But this one's just pure white color. It's basically what you would expect when you think of instant noodles. You know, you think of a Japanese style instant noodle. This is the typical instant noodle type, right? I'm gonna put a little bit of soup base in. But I'm surprised by how relatively healthy this is. I mean, you don't expect instant noodles to be that healthy, but 20% daily value of sodium isn't too bad, actually, considering it's instant noodles. That actually surprised me. I thought it would be more than that. Okay, seasoned. Okay, put a little bit of that in there. And yeah, only one soup base, because Japanese noodles keep it simple. Alright, and I'm just going to pour some water and I'll tell you guys what I think. Alright, so now I have the Sapporo Ichiban miso flavor I guess, ready here. So you can see the soup base in this one is definitely more of a brown color, like a soy sauce type of color compared to the mama one. The mama one was more like a combination of, you know, reddish orange because it has like a lot of spices and stuff inside of it. This one, not as many spices, of course, as compared to the mama one. Miso flavor, while its miso flavor is complex, obviously, but I would say the tom yum flavor is even more complex than that in terms of the flavor. So yeah, this is a relatively more simple looking broth. And just try out the noodles here. Right, this is what noodles look like. This is, again, what people normally expect when they think of instant noodles. They think of Japanese instant noodles. So. Decent amount of chewiness. Definitely more substantial than the mama noodles. It's a little bit thicker than the mama noodles. So these are still like thin-ish noodles, but these are probably like what people think about when I think of instant noodles, right? Typically it's Japanese style instant noodles. So yeah, they're just about the right thickness. Not too thick, not too thin. So actually it's a little bit, the noodles are definitely more substantial than the mama's noodles. So these, you eat one packet of these, it's decently filling, right? Compared to the mama packet, you'll definitely have to eat at least 2 packs of those. So the noodles here are definitely a little bit more substantial. I might still prefer the mama's noodles though in terms of texture. I mean, these are decently okay in terms of chewiness, but yeah, I think I might prefer the mama's a little bit more in terms of the texture. And then the broth. Yeah, I mean, it's miso, right? So it's got miso flavor. If you guys have ever had miso soup, then yeah, this broth is definitely like miso soup. I mean, these days, if you guys ever go to Japan, you can easily find instant miso everywhere, right? So it's relatively easy to make instant miso. So of course this broth is just going to be like something similar to instant miso, right? except without the dehydrated green onion or tofu or something. Which I wish they could have put that in here. Like if you have instant miso, they usually come with like dehydrated green onion or tofu or something. I wish they could have put that in these packets. But this is just kind of very, very basic miso, like instant miso style soup, right? Yeah, it's alright. Again, I'd rather just have a standalone instant miso and then just put it in this broth. Because the Sapporo Ichiban miso is just very, very basic instant miso, I guess. Yeah, noodles are definitely a little bit more substantial. Mm-hmm. Alright, so what I like about this one, the noodles are more substantial, so they're definitely more filling compared to the mama noodles. What I don't like about it, I wish the soup was a little bit like more. I mean, I wish it had a little bit more in it. It's just like the miso flavor is like it's just very, very basic miso flavor, and you really have to kind of drink the broth in order to taste it. It's just having the noodles soak in the broth doesn't really give it too much flavor. Actually, you really have to kind of drink the base to really taste that miso flavor. But even then, it's a very basic miso flavor. Most instant miso would actually beat this. So yeah, I'm not too impressed with the flavor of the soup base. The noodles themselves, I wish they could be a little bit more like have a little bit more texture as well. They're not decent. They're decently chewy, but they're not like. I actually prefer the mama noodles in terms of being of the texture of the noodles. So yeah, I think the only thing I really like about this one is the fact that the noodles are more substantial. So that's really it. It's more filling. But maybe that's just Japanese style, right? It's like this. Maybe they want to keep it simpler. The flavors tend to be simple with Japanese noodles. They just have soy sauce, shio, and miso are their three main flavors, right? I mean, of course, they have beef and chicken and shrimp as well, but these all tend to be very, very simplistic flavors, not as complex as tom yum or these other two that I'll get to. So it really depends on what you like. I think Japanese focus on very keeping it basic with these flavors. So again, but I personally don't really like it. I think that this flavor is too basic for me. So would have preferred it if they had a more, if had a more complex flavor. But then, the Japanese ramen just keeps it basic and simple. So that's what they're about. But anyways, yeah, Sapporo Ichiban. In my opinion, I think this is actually still better than Nissen and Maruchan. So if you do go for Japanese noodles, then this one is probably, Sapporo Ichiban is probably the one to get. But in this video, I think there's ones I like better than this. Okay, next up I have Wugudaochang with their artificial hot and sour beef flavor. So Chinese noodles, all sorts of flavors, right? And always very complex flavors. So they might have like, stewed beef flavor, or they might have mala tang flavor. They might have like a lamb flavor even, seafood flavor, or all sorts of stuff. So yeah, you guys can see this is actually what it says on the back. A lot of stuff again, but I'll read out the ingredients that are interesting to me. So, okay, let's check it out. So, nothing that interesting about the noodles themselves, but the seasoning powder is interesting. So, obviously MSG. There's a lot of MSG in this one because it's actually the second one listed. Dehydrated carrots, interesting. Flavored soybean products. So you have soybean meal, salt flavor, MSG, soy sauce powder. So I wonder what's flavored soy sauce products. Soy sauce powder as well, right? Soy sauce, hydrolyzed soybean protein, spices, artificial beef flavor. That's actually an ingredient here. Paprika's in here. Hydrolyzed vegetable protein seasoning powder. That's like, what is like Maggi seasoning? I think they have like some sort of Maggi seasoning thing. I think when I think of hydrolyzed vegetable protein, I think of either it's the the commercially produced soy sauce is not naturally brewed, or it's Maggi seasoning. I think it might be related to that. And the seasoning sauce is palm oil, soybean oil, soy sauce, broad bean paste, which has chili in it, broad bean, and then chili paste as well, which is chili and salt, green onion, artificial beef flavor, ginger, paprika, salt, soybean paste. A lot of soybean stuff in here. Yeah, vinegar sachet. It also has a vinegar sachet with vinegar in it. Okay, check it out. So I'm expecting a lot of flavor packets. Usually for Chinese noodles, they have a lot of flavor packets. It's almost the opposite of Japanese. All right, how many do we get? Okay, we get 3. There might be even more in some other Chinese noodle brands, but you usually get at least 3 seasoning packets for Chinese noodles because they often have a lot of complex flavors and they give you a lot of packets. So yeah, it comes with 3 different packets here. So one of them is actually a vinegar sauce, one of them is a seasoning sauce, and the other one is seasoning powder. So I'm guessing this one is seasoning powder, this one is seasoning sauce, and then this one is the vinegar sauce. So comes with 3 packets there. Yeah, so usually Chinese noodles give you the most in terms of flavor packets, in my experience. And also, yeah, Mama and Indomie actually give you a decent amount of seasoning packets as well. If you guys have had Indomie mee goreng, I think there's like 5 different packets of mee goreng. Mama has 3. So Southeast Asian noodles and Chinese noodles give you a lot of packets usually. Yeah. Yeah, I think Indomie mee goreng gives you quite a bit, especially for that smaller packet. 5 different seasoning packets usually. Interesting. And this is a non-fried. Okay, so that's why the noodles are actually kind of interesting here. So, you know how I said, hey, the Mama noodles look a little bit brownish in color. They have a brown tint to them. And the Sapporo Ichiban is just like, you know, pure white basically. Well, the Chinese noodles here are yellow. So they all have different colors actually. You guys might not have believed that, but the instant noodles, they all have different colors to them. Yeah, the Mama is like a little bit brownish, caramel color, maybe roasted type of color. Sapporo Ichiban, pure white, and then these Chinese noodles, yellow. It's non-fried. So I'm just gonna break off a little bit. Okay, break off a little bit for me to try. Okay, about that much. And I'm gonna put a little bit of sauce in each, which is always a little bit hard to do when you have this many packets, right? A little bit of vinegar. Whoa. This is like Chinese vinegar, by the way. This is black vinegar, which is Chinese vinegar. So it's not, when you think of vinegar when it comes to Chinese food, it's not white vinegar. It's Chinese vinegar, which is a bit different. Okay. A little bit of the seasoning sauce here, which is I'm thinking like soy sauce and chili here, looks like, and a little bit of bean paste maybe. Okay, a bit of that, and seasoning packet. Okay. All right, and now we're ready to add the water. All right, so now the Chinese instant noodles are ready, and interestingly, like this soup base, I think you guys can really tell it's quite unique. A lot of red in this soup base, because you know Chinese noodles have the mala flavor, right? Definitely a lot of red in this one. Totally different color than the Sapporo Ichiban. So should be interesting. All right, the instant noodles. Yeah, the texture is decent. Say compared to the Sapporo Ichiban, these ones have a little bit of a more chewy texture than either the Sapporo Ichiban or the Mama noodles. These ones are probably the chewiest noodles I've eaten yet. Yeah, so I'd say the texture on these noodles are decent. The only thing is that a lot of Chinese brands, they actually don't use these kind of noodles. They actually use these vermicelli noodles, which are rice noodles instead, and those are very thin. And I don't like those type of noodles, honestly. So a lot of Chinese brands use the thin vermicelli rice noodles. I don't like those type of noodles. But for this one, I actually kind of like it. I think these ones are pretty good. Yeah, what noodles look like. Being non-fried. I forgot to look at the calorie information. 400 calories for this one, about similar to the Sapporo Ichiban one. 2,500 milligrams of sodium in this. 109% of your daily value. Okay, this one has the most sodium content. Actually, it's still Mama, actually, because the Mama one is a half-size serving. So yeah, the Mama one still has the most sodium content because it had like 1,600 milligrams for like a half-size serving. But this one definitely has a lot. 2,500 milligrams for this full pack. I better not eat too much of this. But then again, not too surprising maybe, because Mama and these Chinese noodles, they have the most ingredients actually. They have the most different flavors out of all these instant noodles so far. The flavor is very complex. They have 3 seasoning packets, well 3 packets basically. So there's just a lot more. Yeah, of course there's going to be more sodium content when you put in more ingredients like that. I think that's part of the reason why the Mama and the and this one has so much sodium, is because they have 3 seasoning packets each, so they just add more stuff. There's just a lot more stuff going on here, and the flavor here is a lot more complex too. The broth is very complex. Yeah, it's kind of like a mixture of soy sauce, bean paste, and mala flavor. So it's like a mix of all these. Very complex flavor. Yeah, I would not drink this broth that much because of the high sodium content, but I have to admit it is a complex flavor, just like with the Thai tom yum flavor. Very complex. Definitely this one is more of a mala leaning flavor. If you guys have ever had mala flavor before, it's a spicy, numbing, tingly type of spiciness, and this one has a little bit of that. It's not too much, not a lot, but not exactly like eating a hot pot, but definitely has that kind of flavor to it. And there are Chinese noodle brands which actually have, the Sichuan peppers and everything, all the peppercorns and everything in it. So there are definitely more mala flavors than this one. This one is actually kind of a light mala flavor, not that much. But yeah, there's other Chinese noodle brands just totally mala flavor. It just goes fully with the Sichuan peppers and everything. Okay. Okay, I like the noodles a lot. These are nice noodles. Oh man, such a complex soup base flavor. Okay, that's it for that one. What I like about this one is that actually, let's put it this way. I don't really dislike anything about this one. Not much, anyways. The only thing I really might dislike is the sodium content, because there's just so much sodium in this one. But that's what you have to take with instant noodles, I guess, is being unhealthy, right? So yeah, even with this non-frying one, it's definitely one of the more unhealthier options. But I can't really say much I dislike about this. I really like this one, actually. What I like about this one is the noodles. First of all, the noodles are also kind of substantial, just like with the Sapporo Ichiban. So you got it fills you up decently. It's not quite as thin as the Mama noodles, so substantial noodles. Texture of the noodles are very good. They're very chewy, more so than the Sapporo Ichiban or the Mama. The complex soup base. Yeah, so it's kind of like the tom yum soup base of the Mama. Very complex, lots of flavors. I mean, I can taste the spiciness from the mala. I can taste the saltiness from the soy sauce or soybean paste used in this, and I can taste the sourness from the vinegar. So there's a mix of everything, a lot of complex flavors going on in the soup base, which I like. So definitely I think this is overall my favorite so far. Very complex flavors in the soup base, and the noodles are pretty nice as well. But again, this might be an exception for Chinese noodles because most Chinese noodles use the very thin vermicelli rice style noodles, which I don't like. But these noodles I do like. So yeah, so far this one might be my favorite out of them all. Alright, last but not least is the Nong Shim kimchi flavor. Yes, the Korean instant ramen, and I'm very familiar with Korean instant ramen brands. You know, I've had pretty much most of them. There's 4 major instant ramen brands in Korea. There's Nong Shim, who is the biggest one, and also makes their most popular one, Shin Ramen. There's also Samyang, which makes the very popular Pudak Pokemon. And there's also and Samyang ramen as well. And there's Otoki, who makes the popular Jin Ramen. And then there's Paldo. So yeah, there's actually, and Paldo is probably maybe more famous for bibimbap. But anyways, those are the 4 major instant noodle brands in Korea. This time we tried Nong Shim is my personal favorite because they actually make a whole bunch of different types of instant noodles, all kinds. Yeah, let's try kimchi one. I think lately they have made even more hotter Shin Ramen ones as well. So what it looks like on the back. Yeah, a lot of ingredients again, as always. So, alright, let's look at these ingredients here. Dried kimchi flakes. So is that what they mean by seasoned with real kimchi? They have dried kimchi flakes, which is Napa cabbage, red chili pepper, garlic, salt, ginger, and stuff. Hydrolyzed soy protein, which again, it's kind of like, reminds me of Maggi seasoning, I guess. Garlic, red chili pepper, leek extract, natural flavors, I don't know what that means. Anchovy extract, interesting. Onion, beef bone extract is in here as well. Black pepper, rice is somehow in here. Red jalapeno pepper is in here. I'm guessing this is some of the stuff you might find in Shin Ramen as well. Beef fat is in here as well. Okay. And then radish extract. Napa cabbage extract. That's to make it taste more like kimchi, I'm guessing. Vegetable mixture, which is onion, cabbage, spinach, pumpkin, carrot, tomato paste. Okay. Okay, tomato paste is in here. Tomato paste, pumpkin, carrot, spinach, cabbage, onion is in the vegetable mixture. And then tapioca starch, I guess, to thicken it up. Beef extract again. Okay, a lot of stuff in here. Contains wheat, anchovy, and soy, crustaceans and mollusks, eggs, milk, peanuts, tree nuts, mustard, and sesame. Oh no, that's manufactured in a facility that also processes. Okay, but it does contain wheat, anchovy, and soy, right? Because I saw the anchovy extract. Okay, check it out. All right, seasoning packets. We get 2 in here. That's actually, yeah, I think Korean instant noodles generally have 1 or 2. They don't generally have more than 2. So I would say that in general, Korean instant ramen give you a little bit more packets than Japanese. Japanese, very simple, always give you just 1. Korean might give you 2, and then Chinese and Southeast Asian ones like Indomie and Mama might give you a lot more. But that's what I found in general. So we get 1 kimchi seasoning packet and 1 dried kimchi flakes, and that's what they mean by real kimchi. So they actually get real kimchi flakes in here, which is nice. There are actually a lot of other ones, like this one I think I chose particularly because it contains real kimchi. There's other brands or even other Nong Shim kimchi flavors that don't have the real kimchi in it. So yeah, just be aware of that. If you find some of the Nong Shim other kimchi ones, they might not even have this one. Or some other brands, they say they're kimchi flavor, but they might not have actual kimchi in it. They just have this seasoning packet and that's it. So I chose the one that actually has kimchi in it. Okay, and now the noodles for Korean noodles are very interesting. Okay, for Korean noodles, I mean, okay, you got to see the size. The size of Korean noodles, I think, is what's interesting. First of all, it's yellow. So just like the Chinese one, it's yellow. The Sapporo Ichiban one's white, and the Mama one's like a little bit brown. So yeah, yellow colored noodles. And just look at the size of these noodles, right, compared to the other ones. These noodles are noticeably thicker. So that's what, another thing I really like about Korean noodles is that they use thicker noodles on average. So they're a lot more substantial than your other noodles. So yeah, these noodles, like, Koreans just use, like, they use thicker noodles. So you just get a lot more out of it. So I think I'll just put this much in. Yeah, they are very filling because of that reason. Calories 520. There's more calories because of the thicker noodles, I think. So these other ones, like for the same size packets, about 400 calories. This is 500 calories. 2,660 milligrams of sodium, 90% of daily value. Yeah. Again, not healthy for you, not good sodium. So it's surprising that the Sapporo Ichiban one is so relatively low in sodium. That one is only like 400 milligrams of sodium. And the Chinese, actually, yeah, Chinese Mama and in this one, Nong Shim, they all have huge amounts of sodium in it, right? This one packet, like 2,060 milligrams. So not quite as much as the Chinese one. The Chinese one literally has over 100% of your daily value of sodium, but comes close, 90% of your daily value. So yeah, actually I would say, yeah, the Mama one probably has the most, relatively speaking, because you got to eat 2 packets of that one, and then the Chinese one, and then the Korean one. They all have high levels of sodium. The Sapporo Ichiban has the least. Okay, so yeah, let's put the seasoning in here just a little bit, the kimchi seasoning, and then a little bit of the dried kimchi flakes, which is something kind of, it's not every kimchi flavor Korean ramen has this packet, by the way. So I'm just saying I picked the one which has this dried packet of kimchi because I know this one does. Yeah, so this is kind of like a special one, I guess. Yeah, most of them actually don't really have these kimchi flakes. All right, so I'm just putting in the water, and then we'll see how it tastes. All right, so now I have the kimchi ramen all nice and ready. And it's interesting because, yeah, the broth color for this one is, as you would expect from a kimchi type broth, it's almost like orange colored. Yeah, so exactly what we expect, right? Like for miso, it's brown. For mala, it's red. And then for kimchi, it's orange. And then for the tom yum, it's like a mixture of red and orange. So it's exactly what we'd expect from a kimchi flavored ramen. So, right. I like this smell, and the noodles, very substantial. You guys can see the noodles here. These are Korean noodles. They're always very substantial noodles. Yeah. Personally, I love Nong Shim's noodles. They're great. I mean, most Korean noodles I think are good, but I prefer Nong Shim's the best. And then Samyang, Otoki, probably close to each other. Paldo's probably my least favorite in general, because I just don't like, most of their soup bases don't have much flavor to them. Nong Shim's definitely my favorite out of all the Korean brands. Yeah, a little bit of spiciness to it. For Korean brands and Korean noodles, most of them have a little bit of a spicy flavor. Some of them have a lot of spicy flavor, depending on what you want, right? Like the Puldak Pokemon is very spicy. And then if you get Shinramyeon or the Heck Shinramyeon or Shinramyeon the red, whatever the new one is, very spicy, right? But this one, just a little bit of spiciness, not too spicy, because it's mostly flavored on, mostly focused on the kimchi flavor. I like the little dried kimchi flakes too. Really adds a nice touch. These little dried kimchi flakes, really nice touch here. Adds a little bit extra to this. Again, don't have to put in anything, you know, I don't have to put in anything, any extra ingredients here. You just already comes with dehydrated kimchi, so adds that little extra something already. But again, not all kimchi noodles come with that. Just this one, I know that comes with it. There's also some budae Korean ramen that comes with the kimchi too. Yeah, I love the noodles. These noodles are very substantial. Like I said, they're bigger than the other instant noodles, and they're very chewy. I love it. Broth is decent. It's okay. Yeah, so the broth is, I'm not going to drink too much of it because of the high sodium, but yeah, the broth is like, what you would expect from a kimchi flavored noodles. It's got a little bit of spiciness to it, and just has that kind of vegetable flavor. You know how some instant ramen even have a vegetable flavor? Like they might have a vegetable flavor. So yeah, it's like vegetable flavor, whatever that means. But it does have like that kind of flavor, but with more spiciness. Because I mean, kimchi is cabbage, right? So. Oh man, yeah, this broth isn't too bad. A little kimchi flakes. It's actually kind of amazing how the dehydrated kimchi actually tastes this good. You would think dehydrated vegetables wouldn't taste that good, but this dehydrated kimchi is actually really good. So, yeah. Okay, yeah, this is a pretty good one. Pretty good one. I really like this one. I think this and the Chinese one are so far my favorites. If I had to choose between the two, I'd probably go with this one because I really like the noodles in this one. I just like the thicker noodles, and I love kimchi. So I might be being a little bit biased here, but I really like kimchi and I like thicker noodles. So this one actually be my favorite. The Chinese one comes pretty close because it has a very complex flavor, more complex than this one actually. So the flavor base for the Chinese one, very complex. So I think that one would probably be my second, and then the Mama Tom Yum would be my third, and then the Sapporo Ichiban last, just because it doesn't have that much flavor to it, in my opinion, compared to the others. So yeah, that's it. That's my ranking. This one is on top. This one is personally my favorite out of these different brands, and I mean out of the different countries, I guess, since I'm comparing countries here. Yeah, Nong Shim kimchi is my overall favorite because I love thicker noodles and I love kimchi. So this one on top. And then the Chinese one comes close because I also really like mala. And these noodles are pretty good too. They're just not quite as good as the noodles on the Nong Shim. But comes pretty close. And then in third place would be the Mama with the Tom Yum flavor, just because it's very complex flavor. But all three of these have really high levels of sodium content. And the Sapporo, that's where the Sapporo Ichiban, even though it's last on my list in terms of flavor, but it doesn't have a lot of sodium to it. So that's the one good thing I can say about that one. So that's it, guys. That's my taste test rankings of all these different instant noodles from different countries. So let me know what you guys think. What's your favorite instant noodles among these ones? Have you tried all these other instant noodles from these other countries? So I just want to add for the Sapporo Ichiban miso flavor, this one actually contains an extra packet here. So it says it has original spice pack here, and it does contain an additional original spice pack. So just want to make that correction. Yeah, it's not only this miso soup base, but also the spice pack as well. And if I were to say, and I tried this with the spice pack too, it doesn't make too much of a difference. Like this is just, it's like a tiny bit of spices, right? It's not going to make too much of a difference. I still think that, yeah, overall, this is probably the least flavorful out of all of them. I mean, broth, if you like miso, of course, is great. But in terms of the amount of flavor, different kinds of flavor you get out of the broth and the noodles, I have to put this one still last. This original spice packet isn't really going to change my mind because it's just a small amount of spices. Sure, it's like a little bit of an extra kick if you can even feel it, but yeah, still not enough compared to the Chinese noodles, of course, and the Mama noodles, which do have a lot of different flavor packets. So yeah, just having a small little extra spice packet isn't really going to do anything that much. So yeah, I would still probably put this in last place, fortunately, in terms of the overall flavor, because yeah, the noodles are good, but just wish it had more flavor instead of just this miso taste. But then that's what Japanese focus on. They focus on these simple flavors. But For me, I want to have more. I want to have more flavors, just more complex flavors, and that's where the Chinese noodles kind of win it for me, and the mama noodles as well, and the Korean kimchi noodles kind of as well. It just doesn't have as complex of flavors as the Chinese or the Thai noodles. Still, my overall ranking is unchanged. I still prefer the Nong Shim kimchi noodles, #1 overall, right? But in terms of flavor, yeah, I probably prefer the Chinese noodles the most still.